Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Drawing with Colin. I'd like to begin today's episode with an apology. As regular subscribers will know, it's been over 2 months since my last episode, and for that I can only apologise. I've had some truly heartfelt emails from some fans expressing their frustration and sadness that it's been such a long time without an episode, and to you I apologise profusely. Hopefully today's episode will be well received and it might spark a renewed enthusiasm in the series, and we can start to produce episodes on a more consistent basis. I was just drawing with some friends just the other evening, and it was a particularly enjoyable time for us all, and that really did spark the inspiration behind starting the series again. So I do apologise, and hopefully we can have a more prolonged period of producing episodes now. Today's request comes from Andrew from Stirling. I think we've heard from this man before. Might be a different Andrew, there's probably more than one in Stirling. But anyway, he requests as follows. Dear Colin, can you please draw a low-scoring Premier League football match between James Bond FC and 19th Century Gentlemen? The James Bond team only have the number of Bonds that there have been. The Gentlemen's team has 14 players, none of whom can play football. The Bond team are also incompetent at football, with the exception of Sean Connery. Timothy Dalton can be seen crying near the corner flag. Well, Andrew, that is indeed a mouthful, not the most simple of drawings. And given that we have a James Bond theme today, I decided that I would add a bit of music to the episode. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play my favourite James Bond theme tune in the background, just for a little bit of entertainment, hopefully to create some atmosphere. So I'm going to play that now. It's just going to be on loop. I anticipate this drawing might take a little bit longer, so you might get to listen to it a few times. Hopefully you grow to love it as I do. So here we go, I'm going to put on the music and we're going to begin the drawing. Hopefully you can hear that okay. I'm just going to angle the camera down now and we're good to go. So I think for this drawing I'm going to start dead simple by just drawing the goals. We're going to look at the football match sort of face on, as if they were standing at the halfway line looking down. So just drawing the goals, really simple, rectangle minus the bottom edge. And I'm going to have some advertising boards just running along beside here, just behind the goal, nice and simple. It would take a long time to put some adverts on those, so we'll just add in those rectangles, and if time allows we might jazz them up a little bit, but we're just going to keep that pretty simple. Behind the goals I'm just going to draw a wee sort of arch here to represent the sort of top of the stadium, and then hanging from behind the goals I'm going to have a wee scoreboard. And Andrew did request that it was a low scoring game, so what we're going to do is we're just going to call it 0-0. It's about as low as you can get. So I'm just going to write in the names of the teams. James Bond FC 0, 19th Century Gentlemen. Sorry, it's a bit tedious, this isn't really art, but just needs must. Also 0. So we're going to have the 19th Century Gentlemen team on the defence, so they'll be facing the camera as you see it. And given that Sean Connery was identified as the only player with any talent, probably because he's Scottish, we're going to have him scoring a goal. I think that just adds a bit of excitement to the picture. So I'm just going to start by drawing a ball in the top corner here, just a wee circle, dead simple. And then I'm going to have a despairing looking goalkeeper diving towards it with his cane, as most 19th century gentlemen had. So just again, circle shape, very similar to the ball for the goalie's head, wee line across the top, and then a wee square on there for his top hat. Just going to draw that in, spot on. Just give him a wee eye, a nose and a sad face because, well, he's just conceded a goal. So he's a stick man again, he'll be fine, stick man will suffice, no problems. Throwing his hands desperately towards the ball with no joy, and then his legs just kind of flailing desperately to no avail. He does have his cane here, which he's shoved out in a last ditch attempt to get the ball, but he's failed quite miserably. I'll just show you that actually, see where we are for now. So there's the stick man trying to get the ball. There's the scoreboard and the hoarding advertising boards in the background. So, given that the 19th century gentlemen team aren't particularly good, we're going to be fairly motionless in this picture. And football formations in that era tended to verge on the ridiculous with somewhat aggressive tactics. So a 2-3-5 would be quite typical. Given this is a 14-man team, I'm just going to give them a 3-4-6 formation with a goalie. So all these guys are going to look the same. In the interest of time, we're just going to stick to our familiar stick men, which of course has been covered in previous weeks. So we're just going to have a back, what did I say, a back three. So I'll have this big centre half here, standing fairly central with his top hat on. This bit could be a little bit repetitive, because for the next few minutes I'm just going to be drawing 13 19th century gentlemen in stickman form, but hopefully you can stay tuned. At the very least you'll be enjoying the music, I imagine. So we've got this guy here. Sorry, I gave him a smile, he's probably quite upset. There's his cane. There's his left-sided defensive partner here. He'll be certainly looking quite miserable. I think he is responsible for the goal. Sad face. Fullback, so probably going to be a little bit shorter. And then we've got a right fullback over here. Hope we're enjoying the music, guys. I might actually, well, I was going to say I might have a wee sing along, but we can maybe save that for a separate YouTube channel. Right fullback, also a little bit sad. Stickman. There's his cane. He's holding his in his right hand because he's a right back. This guy's holding his in his left hand because he's a left back. Simple to do. Sorry, you might not be able to see that, so just got to show you there's the defensive line. Look fairly positionally sound, just lacking technical ability. Just going to angle that slightly better. There we go. What do they say? 3-4-6. So we've got two centre midfield players here, just sitting in front of the defence. This guy also quite small. Kane coming out. Sad face. I am hurrying through these, given that I have to do 14 of them. If I was just focusing on a 19th century gentleman, I would go through the features a bit more and we could think about what that involved. But given time constraints, I'm just going to rattle through these guys quite quickly. Just all of them, as you can see, look the same. Basic stickmen with their canes. Got this sort of left-sided midfield player over here. Let's see, I'll get through these as quick as I can. Also looking quite miserable. Right-sided midfield player over here. He's got quite a large head, but that's fair enough. As you can see, they're all standing in the same way, just standing still, not really any effort to run around, play the football, but given that their kit wouldn't be particularly efficient for playing football, wearing a top hat and a cane is obviously going to decrease your mobility as well. So yeah, there's not really up to much, but the request did stress that they were incompetent. So we've got our back line in the midfield. We've got 6 forwards now. We've got the big guy here at the top. Probably not going to see much action, given that they're not a particularly good side. But we'll add him in here, big centre forward. He's smiling because he's done his job. Well, he's not done his job, but he's not done anything wrong. Cane in hand. How many do we have? 6 up top, so we'll have quite a narrow front 3, I think. Playing quite close to one another. As you can see, fairly disciplined positionally, but that might just be through laziness rather than good coaching. As I say, I do apologise that this is rushed. We'll maybe try and add a bit more detail to some other features of the drawing. So there's a front 3, and I think just 3 behind them. Worth considering perspective with this sort of drawing as well. Obviously the guys further away are going to look a little bit smaller, and in this case that's not necessarily true, but that's because the centre halves are very big, so even though they're further away they look about the same size. How many? 2 more, and that'll give us our team of 14. Now, given that they outnumber the Bond team by more than 2 to 1, and all but one of the Bonds is also bad at football, I think we can conclude that Connery Must be quite a gifted player. There's Kane, I think that's 13. Last guy here just playing in the number 10 role. Probably the most talented of the bunch. Not that that's saying much. Yeah, there we go. So there's our 19th century gentleman. Now we just need to add in our bonds. Now, Lazenby, not really featuring in the game as he's in the corner crying, but given that the James Bond team have just scored, I think we can safely say that he's crying with joy. So over here we're going to draw a corner flag. Can you see that? Yeah, perfect. Corner flag's just, straight line, then a wee triangle on top. Absolutely bog standard. Might give it a wee base at the bottom, which is just kind of a semicircle. And I'm going to we'll have the back of Lazenby's head. Can you see this? With his dark hairline. He won't be wearing a hat. And I'm going to have him, it looks as though he's just kind of slid into the corner flag with his hands in the air, celebrating Sean's goal. Yeah, with his leg just faced out there, sitting down, and his other leg, of course, hidden behind. And I'm just going to write Lazenby on the back of his top. Strikes me as a sort of no-nonsense fullback, so we'll give him the number 3. So that's George. Get a wee close-up of that. You can't tell that he's crying, but to be fair, if you were sitting behind someone, I don't think that would be particularly obvious. So that's the situation there. Connery's obviously the man who scored the goal. I think at a previous point I said the left back here was to blame, so I'm just going to draw him next to the left back. Again, just a wee half circle on his head there to show the hairline. Cover that in. Again, this hand certainly in the air, celebrating his goal. Oh, sorry, that was a bit of a mistake. I'm rushing this, guys. I know it's quite a long one. I'll maybe try and take a short request next week. And just when I'm coming, he's obviously just kicked the football, so his leg's going to be coming at a slight diagonal. And there's his boot. Yeah, that looks good. Up there, and then his other leg just really standing pretty still to get him a good balance. Up there, and his other hand is just kind of sticking out by his side. And you can see the ball going in the top corner there. Just going to put Connery in the back of his strip. I should have maybe drawn it a bit bigger, but that's fine. Definitely number 9. Who's a big brute of a striker. There he is there, looking delighted. We have 4 more bonds: Daniel Craig, Pierce Brosnan, Roger Moore, and Timothy. No, we've got. Oh no, sorry, it was George Lazenby. Oh, it was supposed to be Timothy Dalton that was crying. Sorry, Timothy. It's George that's crying. So we've got Timothy Dalton, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, and Daniel Craig. Given that the gentlemen are playing a 6-man strike force, I think they're going to have the Bond team set up quite defensively. Roger Moore strikes me the sort of guy who'd be a decent centre half, much like his namesake-ish Bobby Moore, World Cup winning captain, of course. Maybe not that long before Roger took on the role of Bond. So he's just kind of standing here at the back watching proceedings again, hands in the air, celebrating the strike, but he's just standing bog standard leg formation there. Can we see this? Yeah, hopefully we can see this. And his other arm also up in the air, expressing great joy. We'll have Moore. I wish I knew Bobby Moore's number. I think he was maybe a 2. Let's give Roger the number 2 as well. There he is. Where is he? Yeah, there he is, Roger. 3 down, 3 to go. Pierce Brosnan, he's quite flash. Let's have him maybe playing in the sort of number 10 role here. Definitely suave, you might say. Again, all these guys look more or less the same from behind. Similar sort of stock, dark hair. Hands in the air again. Celebrating. His leg's slightly out the side as well, because I think we can assume that he's played the ball into Sean Connery to get the assist. And then I'm going to write Brosnan in the back, number 10. There we go. And who does that leave? Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig's quite short, is he not? Maybe I'm making that up. Daniel Craig can be a fullback, just covering behind Pierce here. Oh, Daniel Craig's actually got blonde hair. Not to worry. Also celebrating. Also not doing much with his feet. That arm's a bit out of sync, as you'll no doubt see, just a bit big. We gave Moore number 3, classic left back number 4. So we've got kind of, Lazenby would have been playing holding midfield, but he's just got carried away with himself in the celebrations, and we're just left now with Timothy Dalton. Fairly uninspiring chap. He strikes me as a bog standard centre midfielder. So we'll slot him in here just on the shoulder of Connery. I think by the time we're finished the song again, we should be done. Here we go. Dalton. No, is it? Yeah. No, yeah, Dalton. And we'll give him the number 5 jersey. And I think that's just about us. Let's have a wee look at this, guys. Hopefully we're getting that. As you can see, you got the 14 gentlemen facing the way the camera would be looking. You've got the goalie there despairingly attempting to save that, but it's right in the top corner. You've got Lazenby celebrating with tears of joy in the corner. And you could argue that the gentlemen are waving their canes furiously, such as their displeasure at conceding the one and only goal of the game. And all the Bonds look pretty chuffed. As you can see, Daniel Craig there, pretty big guns, as does Roger Moore. And that's 17 minutes long. Thank you so much that you've had the patience to watch that. It's very kind of you. I would encourage future requests to perhaps be a wee bit shorter, because I would like to spend more time going through some of the more intricate specifics of the drawings rather than racing through them, and I felt that was a wee bit of a race because not that many people have the concentration span to watch a drawing video for 25 minutes. So I accept this one is a wee bit rushed. As you know, we've covered Stickmen before. I think everything's covered, but perhaps in future weeks we can unpack things a bit and maybe just focus on one thing well rather than multiple things. So bear that in mind with future requests, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully this video will be well received. I would like to get back into the series again, and thank you for watching, and I thank you for your support. Take care now. Bye bye.